Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo. This is the Me, We Awakening panel for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and online, and we've got a lot of people here tonight. You get a sense of how many of us are here tonight. If you go to gallery view, oh my gosh. This is our awakening panel on past lives and karma. We have 8 practitioners on the panel. We are stretched all across the globe. It's free to be here to listen and learn from all that's shared and all that's asked. It's a great opportunity to open to your intuition, testing what comes through you with what we share. It is a small price to ask a question of the panel. $16 to $24, $10 for BIPOC. You can pay by PayPal or Venmo, and I will put all that information in the chat again. And I'll put information on all the practitioners, great practitioners that are here tonight. We have 3 practitioners that are here in our events for the first time. I love that we are growing and expanding. And all right, we've got 2 interpreters tonight that are going to be helping translate everything, interpret everything. Let's see, well, let's just get started and have you meet who's here. Just see if there's anything else I need to say here in the beginning as we're getting started. Maybe that's it. So you know more things that are coming. I'm going to be putting information in the chat in a little bit about giving us feedback on tonight. And if we're going to do a drawing, and if we choose you, you get to choose, you get to do a free 30-minute session with one of the practitioners of your choice. Yeah, just lots of great opportunities here tonight. And all the practitioners have specials. I'll be putting that in the chat as well. All right, let's see. Let's take me maybe out of the front, and then let's have Susy and Amanda, since you've done this so many times. Let's have you go first, and then Thorne, or actually, do we want to do more people first, and then we'll switch? Which one of you, is one of you interpreting for Thorne, or you're just taking turns with whoever's up? Whoever's up?
We're going to be taking turns with whoever's up, right?
Great. All right, so Thorne, do you want to go third in the order? So it'll be Susy, Amanda, and then Thorne, and then I'll tell you who's going to come next. All right, so Susy, go ahead. So take a couple of minutes or so and tell us who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Lorelei. My name is Susy Parker Goins. I'm with Blue Lightning Healing and Blue Lightning Healing Meditations. I'm a channel, so I'm able to embody the energy of your guide so that you have some tangible interaction with your guides and develop a relationship with them, you know, ask questions, get perspective, trade jokes, whatever it is that's going to help you feel more comfortable with working with your guides more in depth. I'm also an energy healer. I do body scans and can help you identify blockages that are in your body and what may cause them. Sometimes it's a past life that's causing a blockage in your body or is holding you back in your life. And one of the things I started out doing was looking at past lives, my own past lives, and then working from there. And I've read a whole bunch of these other, like Brian Weiss and Michael Newton, I think his name is. And so I've learned a lot about past lives and how they can affect us in this time. I have a podcast called Blue Lightning Healing Meditations. You can find it on Spotify, Amazon Music, Transformation Talk Radio, Anchor.fm. And I upload weekly to that. And I've had the joy of interviewing a bunch of these people I've met during these events. What else do you need to know? My website is www.bluelightninghealing.com. And you can contact me at Susy, that's SUSY, at bluelightninghealing.com. I am looking forward to exploring this topic, which is one of my favorites. So welcome everybody, and let's enjoy ourselves. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Susy. Great. All right, Amanda. Oh, and I got to get your, can you just hold it up, or do you need me to get your, hold you right there?
For sure. My name is Amanda Root with stonemoontarot.com. I do intuitive rune art readings. I draw a circle. I'll show you a picture.
And actually, and it's showing, so you can leave it down. It's either way.
Oh, okay. I draw a circle of runes, which are a framework of archetypal energies, and then I draw in and around it. And I find all these things. It's like doing a reading with tarot cards, but it's instead something that I just channel, put on the paper, and then read it. I work a lot with visual things. So I work with tarot and runes and intuitive art, and I'm fascinated in signs. I'm fascinated by signs that we see every day, all the time. That's definitely my thing. And I also help people get in touch with the visual things that they might not even realize they're seeing all the time. And then they can start seeing them all the time. Let's see. Oh, I never know what we're going to find. I've definitely drawn a bunch of these where past lives have popped up. Like I've drawn pyramids, I've drawn various Viking assorted things, and who knows, right? So since this is a past life panel, I'm quite sure we're going to have some mysterious past lives pop up. I can't wait. We'll see what happens. All right, thanks. Oh, snowmoontarot.com. That's me.
All right, great. Let's see. I'm going to move your camera. Move spotlight. Let's get Thorne up here.
Okay, I'm gonna pin real quick too.
So, and Thorne's got a, yeah, needs to turn on video before I can spotlight.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Thorne, are you set to go? Oops, where'd Thorne go? Okay, hold on. Let me get you up front. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I am.
I know, sorry, it's tiny. Let me take a few people off. Let me
Yeah,
take it and I can, it's challenging sorting out how to do this. Okay, I'm gonna,
either pinning or let me see. Can you pin?
I don't think you can when I'm spotlighting people. That's what's tricky. Is that
Okay.
better now? There are 4 of you. Is that okay?
1 second. Can I hold on for 1 second? Better. Okay, thank you. Here we go. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Thorne. That's my name sign here. I'm here in Portland, Oregon. I am deaf and I work with intuition, mutual understanding, empathy, tarot card readings. I do energy work. I do past life work, ancestry work, meditation. I do life coaching as well. I do the whole gamut and integrate them all into a whole. And that's what I offer to support my clients. So I work with a variety of different people. Some are hearing, some are deaf, some are hard of hearing. I can work with pretty much anyone. And I also work mainly with, less with trans people, with all kinds of people. And I'm always enjoying chatting with all kinds of people, connecting with various people. And yeah, so I'll, okay. So within this life, it's possible to have a connection with past lives. So the boundaries can be interrupted here in this life. So as we look at that, so those 2 different lives simultaneously and find a connection between a present life and a past life, I love working with people to help understand that that connection better between past lives and present lives, and how those boundaries can be, healed and resolved. And I'm always happy to listen and support my my clients with that kind of work. So I'm really excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I can be of service and how we continue to move forward with this panel today. You can find me on Instagram. Also, I have a website. You can find me there. My email is a good way to contact me too. Instagram, website, or email. All 3 of those are a great way to be in touch. Excellent. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Thorne. All right, let's see. Prakash or Helen. Prakash or Helen, and can one of you go? Actually, Helen, while you're up here, maybe that would be great. Do you want to go, Helen? Let's unmute you.
Unmute.
Great.
I've unmuted. Welcome. This is my first time, my first panel. I actually did all my training in December, and I've been trying to work with Me for a while, but things sort of, life got in the way for a little while. I am in Melbourne, Australia, but I live out of my caravan now, so I'm very mobile. I have a strong online presence with a foundation in energetic kinesiology. I spent COVID channeling through a wellness system, an energetic wellness system that releases trauma across all time and space, all levels and dimensions, across vibrational, physical, metaphysical lives, and all levels of any one life. I have been working with that in clinic and in a healing group I have with enormous success. The release is instantaneous because it's done in the quantum, but the embodiment of it, and that's our challenge, is our physicality and the resistance in the physicality can take months to release everything. I have a different perspective. I have a similar perspective, but I have a different perspective on past lives and on 5D, based on all of the work that I did last year. So I'm excited to be able to share anything that I can along those lines in today's session. Anything else that I should be?
No, I think that's great right now. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, great. And let's see, Marian, I think Marian, you haven't shared yet, right? And sorry, I usually prepare you if you're right. Marian, and then we'll have Karen, and then we'll have Prakash go.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is Marian. I have Free to Be ministry that I'm just beginning to open up and share online. I used to be living in Washington, where I did some psychic fairs there. And the work that I do, I call soul support, because that's kind of what the spirits told me I was doing. I use a variety of cards, rune stones, the charts. I'll show you the chart for spiritual response therapy, which I may or may not use tonight, which is showing past lives, karma, parallel lives, how you are connected with someone else, and if there is some kind of interpersonal discord, to help to receive assistance in letting that go and clearing it. I also do Reiki and other healing modalities that I've been trained in, and some of it works online and some of it I'm still learning to get to work online or over the phone. So I'm really glad to be here and hope that I can be of assistance to people this evening. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Marian. All right, great. So Karen and then Prakash. Go ahead, Karen.
Should have unmuted while I knew I was coming next. Sorry. My name is Karen Coccia from KarenCoccia.com. Nice and easy. I am an intuitive quantum healer, and I'm also what I call a soul alignment coach. So I work with people to really get in touch with their soul blueprint. I work with people using a variety of modalities. I've been trained in Reiki, several other different energy healing modalities, including crystal healing. I've actually trained as a yoga teacher as well, and so sometimes that comes into play. But really, I use a lot of my intuition. I connect to clients on an energetic level and access all 5 layers of the body. And clear through whether it's stuck emotions, whether it's cords and contracts from past lives that need to be released, or even the present life. Working with ancestral healing and motherline healings. Really, every single session is unique. It's unique based on the client and what is presenting at the time of the session. So someone can have something that they want to discuss one week, and then the next week there's a whole new layer and level to be looked at and cleared. A lot of the healing is instantaneous, and it's amazing how much that we hold in our physical bodies, from emotions, from past lives, from trauma. from things that are handed down to us from our ancestors. So I work on all levels to really clear through that. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, a lot of times people are stuck when they see me, whether they're stuck on an energetic level, they're not moving forward in a particular direction, they can't make a decision, they're stuck in some way. I hear that word quite a bit. So it's sort of become a specialty of mine. So again, KarenCoccia.com. Very excited to be here.
Thanks so much, Karen. All right, Prakash.
Hi, I'm Prakash, and I'm coming to you from near Melbourne, little country town in Australia. And when I was living in Santa Cruz, California, I was trained as a hypnotherapist. Actually, did two modalities. One was transpersonal hypnotherapy, and the other alchemical. And basically, what I like doing is putting the client in a light trance, so you're able to talk, so we can have a dialogue. For example, if I'm doing a past life with you, I'll ask you to look down at your feet, and that might give you some clue about what period you're in. And then when I'm doing the induction to put you in a trance, I'll suggest that you're on some kind of path, and I ask you to describe that path for me, and so that we can take it from there. And I also do regressions into childhood, and help you to communicate with somebody from whom you've been estranged, and it could be somebody who's dead. And what else do I do? It's well, one thing is a conference table. If you have to make some important decision in your life, you bring to that table a lot of different characters, people in your life, and external characters like your spirit guides, and all these characters discuss the problem and give their input from their point of view about what they think you should do. And then finally, there's a vote of your internal characters, not the external ones. And it's a very powerful technique. Let's see. I think that's enough for now. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. All right, so those are 7 of our practitioners so far, and then I'm also a practitioner. I'm Laureli Shimayo, an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. I don't particularly read past lives or focus on karma. I focus on what you're able to do in this life, and there are ways of using your body experience now, I believe, to check into what your past lives might be and to check for resonance and intuition. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through. In terms of your eyes, I think that eyes are a window to the soul. I think that we see so much in each other's eyes all the time. I interpret what I see in your eyes with a set of archetypes to describe who you are, your purpose, how you can best do everything that you do, and answer questions about what likely is on your path. We can use this to help identify career paths that would be a great fit for you, people in your life that might be a great fit. I use this for matchmaking and hiring, and help you better understand the people in your life and how to make choices that make the relationship more fun, more enjoyable, and just a better fit for everyone. It gives you a bit of what I do. Yeah, I guess in the body psychology is being aware of your body, being aware of the messages in your body, and there are ways of using your body to move forward. So I'm probably we'll see all of what comes up tonight. I run all these MeWe events, and sometimes I fit in on the themes, and sometimes we explore themes that I'm learning as much as everyone else here. All right, let me see. I'm going to grab a couple more things up on the spotlights. We've got Amanda's artwork up here too, so you can see what's going on. We have so many people on the panel. There are 8 practitioners and 2 people interpreting, and there'll be someone asking a question. So we're going to be like mixing it all up. We haven't talked as much about past life and karma yet. Some of the practitioners talked about it as we run around, but I know there's going to be more that everyone could say. So practitioners, let's go around and say a little bit more about past lives and karma if you didn't share everything you wanted to share already in that first round. So go ahead, like Susy, if you want to start there, and then however we want to bounce around is great.
Sure. I actually gave some considered thought to this. Usually I'm just blurting, but I do believe that past lives are possible, because seeing divine as being this complete spectrum of experience, I don't see that divine or source would have us just live once. Also, I don't know who it was who said that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. So why not experience more than what we can? There's so much, only so much we can explore in a single lifetime. So let's go and have other lifetimes in which to explore, whether it's the same topic, just different aspects, or if you go on to look at new lives, new topics. I mean, why not? It seems to make sense to me. And karma, I feel that karma has shifted meaning for me. I really don't know if I ever had anything solidified, except like karma's a bitch and stuff like that. It's like, no, this is karma for me is now consequences. Karmic distance will be, somebody else experiencing their consequences when you're not around. So that kind of keeps you clear. But I do feel that everything we do, all of our actions, whether it's to help or to not help or actually actively hurt, which frankly is a foreign concept to me, it all, where was I going with that? Did I get in my head? Everything we do has consequences, and we work as we're able to do these things to help elevate our vibration, to increase our frequency. That's going to be karma for us. That's going to be consequences for us as we raise our frequency, and yet it does affect those around us. I love looking at past life stuff, and it could even be a metaphor for something that happened in your current life if you're not hanging with the past life concept, and that's okay. It's because it all boils down to, because divine is so expansive and so all-inclusive, there's room for us to believe all sorts of things and still be able to improve to increase our vibration. I love exploring it because it explains some things to me, and for others it may allow them to release some sort of pattern they've continued on in this life. And the whole concept of soul families is so fun to me, because there are those folks you just know, I've known you somewhere before. And I would kid and say Berkeley 68, right? Which, I was like 7, but it's all a way for us to continue to work together to achieve our best selves. Yeah, that's what I got. Thanks.
Great, thanks. Who else wants to jump in and say something else about past lives and karma? Practitioners, yeah.
I can jump in.
Go ahead.
So I'm starting to draw, as I do at all of these things. And I realized that as this was happening, that this looks like a yellow, kind of like a yellow chakra, but it's like there's openings in it. And I'm seeing this little blue and red thing here and here as connections to past lives of sorts. Now, for me as a person, it's like a language. They're talking about past lives is more like a language. I don't experience in them so much as like, how am I going to explain this? I should have thought about this more like Susy did. Good job, Susy. Okay. So when I talk about past lives, I feel like for me, it's almost like, it's like symbolic conversation. Like, I don't actually think that we had specifically past lives in that kind of way. But I think that since everything is one energy, well then, like, we all have had all of the lives, right? So I guess that's my belief system. But I think anything that can help us separate and compartmentalize the energies around us, and that can help us, like you were saying, like let go of things and heal from things, is perfect. So however you want to feel about something in your energy field currently, it doesn't matter what you call it. If it helps you release it, it helps you release attachment to it, or if it helps you release a fear. So that being said, I don't even know if I should have said that about past lives. Well, oh well, okay. It's too late now. I'm drawing like plants and some kind of like a field that I'm seeing, and I'm starting to see a place, but I haven't gotten a life yet, but I'm starting to see like a place. So let's see what happens as this thing keeps rolling.
Great. Maybe I'll say a little bit, and then I may run downstairs and please let my dog out to go see my partner who just got home. So I mentioned I was a scientist, and I never approached this stuff from a metaphysical or spiritual perspective before. And maybe I should just put myself on screen. Let me do that. And I don't remember the exact order in which everything occurred. I know that I had opened to the metaphysical community and was already hosting events when I changed my last name, and I had a new first name, and I wanted a last name that would go with my first name. And I was just like, oh, I just have to deal with this. So I started thinking, and I came up with a name. No, that's not right. And I need a name. And I went on a drive, and about 3 blocks down the street, bang, I had a name just appear. Right. So that's more like channeling. A name appeared. The last name that appeared is Shimayo. And then I've always been drawn to ceramics and pottery, particularly throwing on the wheel. And this is stuff I did long before I ever did anything metaphysical. I just held such a draw from when I was a child. And I finally did pursue that in my adulthood. And I'm really great at it. And I taught it. And like, I'm really good. Like, I don't understand it. It doesn't quite make sense with my eyes, except that everything that I made had a functional element to it, which warrior is one of my talents. That makes sense. But like, why would I be making ceramics? Well, so one day I finally just said, well, maybe I was a Japanese potter in a past life. And whoosh, I felt like all this ease in my body. Like it just has to be. Like, it just makes so much sense to me. Like, my body is the one that gave me this message. So I was so drawn to ceramics. And then I got this kind of Japanese-ish last name. And I don't even know that I felt very drawn to Japanese ceramics too. And it's a firing process. And yeah, so there's something here, and I don't fully understand it. And like, I'm here to learn more and more as we do things like this together. So I think that we have awareness in this life, sometimes that sneaks through. Supposedly we've made an agreement to not remember, to not know. And sometimes some of it comes through. And I believe that we're connected to our past experiences. We're connected to the energy of what's before us. And we can tell when there's resonance in this life. And our body is one of those great tools for doing that. Probably everyone's different. I do some clairsentience as part of my work. So body awareness is how I read. And that's one of the ways I can check this out. And I encourage you to do that too. And I think anytime any of the practitioners give you any feedback, see if it resonates. And in your body might be one of those ways that you notice, right? It might be emotional. It might be like thinking, it all clicks into place, like whatever your way is of knowing. Is there anything else I want to say about this? I'm just a huge fan of accountability. So I'm a huge fan of what we can do in this life. So I don't think that anything in our history holds us back. I think that with everything that we do in this life and before, there's a facing and a being with and being present to the impact that we've had, and we can shift and move forward. So nothing holds us back. And I do believe, though, that also if we do things that are not good, right, there's a way that even we hold on to that and we punish ourselves with it and we bring it back to ourselves. And if we don't face it, it's carried. There are other impacts. So that's a way that I play with these things. All right, practitioners, who else wants to share about past lives and karma?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Way back in the beginning, when I first started my metaphysical journey, I knew a young woman who introduced us to her fiance. There was so much of a draw between us, this man and I, that just didn't seem like, okay, I don't understand where this is coming from because I know he's already taken. So we both kind of talked about it. We explored it, and I went to have a psychic reading at a school that I had started attending and explained the situation. And the gal that was reading said, well, it's really simple. You were the husband. He was the wife. You were very ill and he took care of you, and you promised to do the same for him. Well, he was having some kind of physical challenges, and we just kind of talked about it and realized that it was kind of a soul contract that we had. And as soon as that explanation happened, the draw between us was gone. So it was like I had this guilt about being so drawn to him because I knew he was engaged to someone else that I cared about a great deal. And the guilt was gone. The tension was gone between us. And that was my first experience of really recognizing karma and soul contracts. So that's part of where I'm coming from tonight, is that those kinds of questions come up, those kinds of interpersonal, energetic things happen. And sometimes there's a past life reason for it. And sometimes there's a parallel life reason for it. So we can look at those kinds of things tonight too.
I'll jump in. So in my line of work, I do a lot with past lives. I'd say probably 80 to 90% of the clients that I work with, we're going into Akashic records. We're looking at different lifetimes where something that has been happening in a previous life is now happening in their current life in some way. So chords, I'm sorry, I made little notes while everyone was talking so I wouldn't forget. So I'm like cheating and looking down. What did I want to say? So we really will hold on to the resonance of different aspects of past lives, traumas that we've been through, promises that we've made in other lifetimes that can carry through. Sometimes they're not always serving us in our current life and they need to actually be rewritten or completely deleted out of our bodies and out of our contracts. So I'll go in and actually look for like whatever that point, what I call a point of origin, whatever the original contract was or whatever it is, and see what it entailed. Does it still serve that client? And then does it need to be removed? So past lives is very much at the forefront of my daily life, I guess, at this point. And I probably have a very unique aspect on karma. That's not a word that I use too much nowadays. Karma is a bitch, whoever said that. Yes, I guess I've said that on occasion, but it's really about the lessons that we've learned in those past lives and allowing them to enter into our current physicality, into our field, without allowing the drama or the trauma or any of the emotions attached to it to really weigh us down and sway us from living this life. So I think that was pretty much about it. And that, you know, a lot of it is stored in our bodies. So you can really tap in, you can feel into different areas in our bodies where different memories are stored, where different Akashic records are stored, see them, feel them. And then once, as Marian said, once you can acknowledge them, it gives them the opportunity to be released.
Yes, great. Great. All right. Well, this gives you a bit of a sampling of everyone who's here. I know some of you have signed up for questions. There's one person that has to leave soon. I know they just got back into the room. So I'm thinking about having them ask their question now, and then we can share a little bit more about past lives and karma after that. How's that work for everyone? Good. I don't know if any practitioners are still in line with more to say. But yeah, if we could do that, that'd be great. Let's see. So a few things I need to say before we start answering questions. So I encourage you all to learn from everything that is shared tonight, all that is asked and all that is answered. We're all here holding the space, doing this together, and the energy field of all of us together is part of how this is impactful. We request that you allow the attention to stay up on the panel tonight. There are 8 of us here on the panel. We believe everyone's intuitive, so something may come through for you that's very valid and useful. We encourage you to use the opportunity to continue to tune into your intuition to see how it correlates with what we share. Please hold whatever comes through for you until we're done. You might want to write it down because sometimes the messages float away. And then if you want, when we're done answering someone's question, you can write them privately in chat and ask them if they'd like to hear what came through for you. Please honor whatever it is they share. Trust that if they say no, they might be just full after hearing from all of us, et cetera, and trust that it came through for you for some other reason. When you ask a question, so you ask and we answer, we may go deeper than you want us to go here in this public forum that's recorded, or we might start talking about a different topic that we think is related. If we in any way start sharing in a way that's not what you want here, please let us know. Jump in, unmute and tell us, wave your hands. We'll have you up here in spotlight on video if you're willing for that. Write in the chat, do anything to let us get your, to get our attention so that we can hear what you want and we can change course and honor you in our answer. I think those are the big things we needed to know to get started. So I have in line, I have Pauline, Christopher, Jasmine, and Martha. So Pauline, I know you were here. I saw you just come back in. Did you want to come up and get to the front?
Yes, thank you.
So let's see, put your video on so I can spotlight you.
Okay, can you hear me? I have my video on.
I can hear you. Is your, okay, okay. There you go, you just got to the
I'm
front.
not sure if my lighting is bright enough.
It's a little hard to hear you, kind of going through this again, but we probably can hear you well enough. If you could have the camera not shining up at the light, that would help us see you. The light makes it harder to see you. No, so have the light not in the camera. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, or yeah, you can just change so that, I know you've got all the lights from above. Can you hold the camera up so it's on your face more?
I love that light, Laureli. That perfect hexagon above. It's so cool.
Great, we can see you. Go ahead.
I feel like an angel when I look at myself like that. But anyways, yeah, I have a sort of like, I'm really not interested in past lives, but I do have something to share if you don't mind me saying something about the karma. I heard something that was very interesting about karma, that if you forgive somebody, you're giving up what so that that person can then have their karma, because the karmic board decides what happens once you've given up whatever it was that you're upset with that person about. That was like I never heard that before about karma. That was just an interesting.
So I'm having a hard time hearing you.
We're having.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're having, there's so much static and garble. It's just really hard to hear you. If you take it off speaker, can we hear you better? If you put, I don't know if you can.
Oh, yeah, maybe that might be the.
I think you called in
I don't know if I can on this one. Yeah, I did call in once and it worked better, didn't it?
Yes. And I know you don't have a lot of time, so.
Okay, well, the thing that really we're more interested in, not regular past lives. I know it's all one and the same. It seems to be like there's parallel lives, there's alien lives that are, on different planet or on planet, so they can all be part of this past life stuff, or just some continuum. So the other thing was interdimensional. I mean, that was interesting. I don't know if anybody has any experience. I know Galactic actually probably has all that experience. So I don't really know if I have any questions, but I was interested in hearing more about from the lady that does the karma in 5D. That was an interesting way. And also Amanda, when she's doing her picture, if I ever wanted to tap into past lives or whatever other lives, would that come through, or do I need to like a private with her or something like that?
Okay, and practitioners, so you some of you are new, so it's some of you are still learning the tools, and like Helen is in her car, so like it's just all a little bit of a wild, crazy journey today. So just practitioners, so you know what we usually do is we have you raise your hand in Zoom so that we know that you're ready to answer. So I know Amanda's ready, but I just want to give so Karen is one of the people that I think. No, it's not, it's Helen. Helen is the one that you mentioned. So if Helen's ready and Helen has something to share, I want Helen to be able to go. And does everyone get enough of the question?
Whoever's the one with the karma, that's the only one that I.
Yeah, karma in 5D is Helen. So that's why she's, yeah, go ahead, Helen.
I can't comment because I'm sorry, I didn't understand what she was saying. It was all
it's great. It's hard to hear. Let's have one of our practitioners speak some of it to you so you can get it better. Does one of the practitioners that understands it better want to say some of it? I know she's asking about what we pick up of her past lives and all kinds of directions. Susy, go ahead.
There were 2 points that Pauline brought up that I thought were interesting. The concept that time happens all at once, and I agree with that, because you can sit there, time as being all one great big ball, everything's happening all at once, and you can pull out lifetimes at a time. I think that was a concept Pauline introduced. She also brought up forgiveness with regards to karma, and the way she brought it up, when you forgive somebody, that allows them their karma back. Honestly, that's a new way for me to look at it. I've always looked, well, not always, I've recently learned to look at it as I get my energy back from you, you take your energy from me. And so the idea that forgiveness can help to heal karma, I am really digging that. I'm really grokking that. So that's what I got out of it from Pauline. If somebody else can elaborate more about what she said, that would be great. But thanks, Pauline. You're presenting new and intriguing perspectives on it. Thank
And
you.
what was the part that she mentioned too about, was it intergalactic or something that was
Past lives? And that goes along with this whole ball being a ball of time, is that we can experience not only human lives, but intergalactic lives, interdimensional lives, maybe even, you know, as an animal on the planet. Life is not limited to this human experience. That goes along with the whole thing that divine doesn't need to be limited because it's unlimited. So why not have a lifetime as a Pleiadian? And she mentioned Galactic Ashley talking about star families. And so we can look at these past lives or these lifetimes. We're not even going to put them on a timeline, but looking at them in such a way that they all happen however they need to, wherever they are, because we're here for our soul development. So why not have a galactic or interdimensional life to help us understand that and improve and increase our frequency?
okay?
Yeah.
Great. So let's see, does that help, Helen, with you understanding the question better?
Immensely.
I'm going to turn off your video though, because
The
we're having trouble getting
lady
you.
about
So.
the-
Okay, go ahead. We might hear you better now.
Can you hear me?
We hear you better now. Go ahead.
Really? The lady in question is very much aligned to the galactic. So with the energetic awakening and the activity of Gaia over the next year, she will be much more at home in a multi-dimensional physicality. Her dreaming state will become very active. Now she would have a sense of it, and that sense will come from a knowing inside that she that sort of feels like a restlessness. Yeah. Her karma, I always say when it comes to karma, is the action of the universal law of cause and effect. Yeah. So there's always positive and there's always negative. And that's thought, action, deed, feeling, the whole box of dice. We've been held accountable over lifetimes for something that was done in one lifetime. And over the last 2 or 3 years, Saturn has gone to great pains to clear all of that up. So as we move into the age of Aquarius and as Gaia moves into, we're not in Gaia, but as we move into Gaia, then where personal responsibility and personal accountability is very much how the universal law of cause and effect, and therefore as we are to define karma, will be part of this lifetime. Those people that have unfinished business from prior lives will develop, physical aches and pains that could relate to lack of forgiveness. And of course, when you look at forgiveness, when you have when you have an event that requires forgiveness, first thing you need to do is look at yourself and what you did to contribute to the event, and if necessary, accept responsibility for your part and forgive yourself. Because once you've done that, it's a lot easier to have acknowledgement and awareness of the rest of it. I know that that's easier said than done when it comes to more difficult circumstances, like where death is involved and stuff like that. But the fundamental practicalities remain the same. Our mind gets in the way and we overthink it, and everything gets complicated. But if you pair it back to the basic negative states of emotion of fear, hate, rage, anger, abandonment, resentment, and jealousy, they're the primary negative states of emotion that we operate from, then you understand what the learning that has also contributed and created to karma. And we also understand our primary triggers for negative thought patterns, negative beliefs, sabotage, and all the rest of it. So my go-to is anger. Some people's go-to jealousy. Some people's it's resentment. In this lady's case, because she brought up forgiveness, her main trigger will be fear, but it will be a fear that is an abandonment issue for fear of being alone. Yeah. So the karma slate has pretty much been wiped clean, and it's been readjusted. We've nearly all had life abuse in our sacred contract. There's been adjustments over the last 12 months. There are some people who have past life and karma stacked timeline, and that's the only stuff that's left to clean up. From now on, we're responsible for our actions, and you'll start to see that more and more. God knows, I felt it in the last few months. The lady who also asked a question is also searching for, it's sort of like on a little bit of a vision quest for why is she here and what is she to do. And I feel that she, at this particular point in time, she just needs to hold the light in love, hold space in love, and the rest will come with time.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Helen.
Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
great. Sorry, Helen, we've only got like 5-6 more minutes, and I want to get some other people in responding.
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay. So let's see. So Pauline, do you have to leave right on the dot, or do you have a few minutes after the hour?
No, I don't have to leave right on the dot. I can wait till everybody's done, and then I'll leave.
Okay, great. All right. So let's see. So who else wants to jump in and share some answers for Pauline? Susy and Amanda, I know you've got your hands up, so go ahead. If Amanda's first, we want to go in, and then anyone else that wants to go. If you know, but practitioners, if you know how to raise your hand in Zoom, that's helpful. So if you are ready to answer, where it should be now is on the bottom. If you click in more or reactions, it's the bottom symbol under reactions is where it should be if you're ready to answer.
Okay, can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this is one of those times where spirit's like laughing at me because they're like, wait, you don't really believe in past lives, and then you see them and you talk about them. So anyway, they're very patient with me, my guides. So I saw a very clear past life for you, even though you're not super into them either, but just bear with me. So I was drawing this color here. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of, and I saw it as being like lapis lazuli, and I saw you wearing like all of this like lapis stone and like feather, like some kind of feather headdress, and you were in charge. You were in charge of everybody. And the thing about forgiveness that you were talking about, I feel like there's an element of something about like, okay, wait, I have the edge of it, but I don't have it, and I'm sorry, but I think I would have to really go in deeper to get this out. It has to do with forgiveness when you're this person in charge of everybody, either having to do with like things were going wrong and people were getting killed and you were trying to stop it because you thought that they should be forgiven, they should die for what they did, or you might have been the person that actually killed people, and then now in this time you're like connecting to the whole, but please don't hold on to that as a fact or like a truth, because I really need to like go deeper in to get the vibe of it. I'm just saying that, you know, something about forgiveness and you as this person. And then I drew Neptune right when the Australian woman, I don't know her name, I'm sorry, was talking about dreams. And I was like, oh, I'm drawing Neptune. So I was definitely picking up on Neptune energy connected with you for sure, which has to do with dreams and very like spiritual and kind of higher consciousness than all the other signs, basically, like Piscean energy. So yeah, that's what I got.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Great. Practitioners, anyone else want to jump in? Again, anyone else an opportunity? Yeah, Thorne, if you want to, I just need to get you spotlit. But yeah, Karen, anyone else that wants to share with Pauline, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to do the reactions and I'm
Sure.
not finding
It's okay.
it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to jump on a little bit of a different train. So you had mentioned the galactic and multidimensional, and I just wanted to let you know that I am really seeing a dragon energy with you. And there's an element of forgiveness there, that it feels like there's a separation between you and your dragon self. That, you know, if you were to call upon that aspect of you, it's like there was an action taken that you're having a hard time reconciling, and it's kind of holding within your being. And so to acknowledge that, you know, in different lifetimes, we have different judgments, we have different views on how things are quote unquote right or wrong. And you just need to sort of forgive whatever that action that you took in that lifetime was, to release that feeling of guilt that's being held on, because in that lifetime you did nothing wrong according to that way of being. So through your human viewpoint, it was wrong. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, I've been holding back doing the activation that Ashley offers.
I'm so sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, yes, it makes sense. Galactic actually offers an activation. The dragons, and I've been not doing it. It's right there. She offers it for free, and I just, for some reason, never get to it. So I think it's so interesting what you shared. And now I know what I do, so I can go ahead and do this. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
You look fairy. I don't know why I say that.
You said fairy? But where did
you remind me of a fairy? Look at her. I see a fairy in her.
Yep,
I'm not supposed to say that.
an elf. Yeah. Okay, practitioners, anyone else practitioners? I know we had a little bit of trouble understanding your question, some of us, but yeah, great. Okay, great. All right, Pauline, that might be everything right now.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm glad you. Thank you so much, everybody. Whatever was supposed to be, it was perfect. Everything was perfect. Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on. Thorne might have something. Susy just described to Thorne what your question was. Let's see if Thorne has something they want to share. So Thorne, let us know.
He says he does have something to share, so
Okay, great.
take it away, Thorne.
Oh, wait, I got to get Thorne up on screen. All right, here we go. All right, go ahead, Thorne. I know this is hard for you to see. Let me move some people off.
Is it possible to pin, Thorne?
Let's see, Pauline, I'm going to take you off of the spotlight, and then I'll take you. So Grace, I have to keep you on as the thing, so I have to keep at least 2 of you.
Okay, I guess I don't know. I just have 1 second.
If you do speaker, it might, yeah.
Got it. Great. Thank you. So, Pauline, hello. You have a great question that you proposed, and yes, the connection to karma and forgiveness could include the galactic aspect of you. I'm feeling that is totally a possible. The galactic energy with that's what I'm feeling. And often we can't only know what the relationship is going back or going forward, but we can still understand the value of that forgiveness and how we can try to apply that to which part of your past or future lives are being affected now. So now we're looking at connecting with the trail that you are taking, unless we ourselves can decide what to change and how we can shift the energy to connect with that, or maybe we need to release the energy, or maybe we need really realize that particular energy is not helping us anymore, and we have to give it back, release it, let it go. Also, forgiveness can be a little bit similar to a way of relieving the tension, of letting go, of compassion, of empathy and understanding. Those can all be, they can align with the idea of forgiveness, along with releasing and letting go. So for myself, for other people, for both of us, for the collective potentially, it depends on where our relationship with that energy is. Also with astrology, or the galactic realms, they could have a connection to, there's just all these threads that connect these various realms. So my experience, everybody's different, various experiences can be related here. I just want to say that could have a various connection to different aspects of you. So there are some choices here, like how do you want to shift your energy, or how do you want to heal? Those are all potential ways you could do that. But also, where our collective, what is our role with the collective? How does our representation connect with the collective? And how can we take this energy and grow and learn with it and evolve? I hope that helps you a little bit. And if you want to contact me more, I can listen, and we can move further with that idea that you're working with, and possibly do some more healing around that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very important. I'm glad I stayed, because I am working with the collective, and I do need to move a lot of healing and forgiving. So that's very important. So I can work with the collective as well. Thank you so much, Thorne. I really was meant for me to stay and hear you out. That was perfect. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yay. All right. Thank you, Pauline. All right, let's see. So we've got more people getting in line. So next in line is Christopher. So let's get Christopher to the front, and I'll get more practitioners up here also.
Oh, can you guys hear me okay?
Let me go find, okay, great. Yes. So let me get you up here to the spotlight and I'll get more practitioners in here too. All right,
Sure,
great. All right, go ahead. What is your question?
Okay, sure. So my question is first of all, I just want to explain something, then I'll phrase it into the question. I've been noticing that my intuition has been, or the way that I receive information or messages, or however you want to define the past life situation, how it, as it occurs to me, is that it comes through in dreams. Like I think it was Amanda saying that Neptune that has is a rule of the dreams and that sort of thing. But I wanted to say that ever since my mom passed away and my uncle before her 6 months before that, I've always been plugged into my dreams just in general. But when my mom passed, it just, everything has like kind of leveled out or plateaued. I don't really feel, I just feel really blocked creatively, like artistically. That's my passion, is art. So I'm trying to figure out, well, I want to know, why am I, or why or how am I blocked? And just have this, everything coming to my subconscious rather than making it conscious. If that makes sense. I don't know if that's clear, or if that's detailed enough information, or if there needs to be more information on that. I don't know. That's what I want to ask.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, we've got Amanda in line, and I see Karen, although I can't see Karen's hand up. I see Karen. Oh, Karen, that's a thumbs up. Raise hand should be at the bottom of the reactions. And more people keep coming in. All right, Amanda, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna make this really quick. Okay, the first thing though, what I saw when you were talking was a wall, and then I saw you, and then I saw not just this big huge wall, but you actually building the wall. So I saw you building a wall, and then after you built it, you were able to climb up to the top of whatever you're building. I don't know if it's a castle or what you're building. I think it's a castle. And then you're standing at the top and looking out over everything. But when you said you're feeling blocked, I was feeling like you're still building the wall, which is really not just a wall, because there's going to be ways for you to climb up the wall, but you have to finish building the wall first before you can climb up the whole top of it. So it feels like you're blocked because you're like looking at the wall part of what you're building, but you're building it. So you're in control of it. But so just remember that you're in control of it. And what you're building now is ultimately the pathway to when you can up the top and see everything, and then everything's going to make sense. So whatever you like, you're good. You're on the right path. Just keep on.
Wow, thank you. Thanks, Amanda.
All right, great. And then Karen, did you have something? And I say, by the way, the raise hand might be under the participants panel if you, if you haven't opened the Zoom. Okay, great. So Karen, and then Thorne, and then Susy. So go ahead, Karen.
So Christopher, as you were talking, what was coming through for me was, what are you not willing to see? That it feels like you've put up this block. And as I'm saying this, I'm kind of getting choked up with emotion. But just the words, what are you not willing to see? It feels like you've turned something off. And it was interesting because Amanda was talking about a wall, and it's almost like there are walls that you've constructed within yourself to sort of close off different avenues or ways that you could explore this. May I ask, have you done any mediumship work? Have you had any relationship with your mother or your uncle since they've passed?
Vaguely. I mean, when my uncle passed, I had a message come to me from him when he passed. But my mom, not so much. I'm not really close to my uncle, but I was talking to him, a few times. My mom I spoke to, we kind of had an altercation toward the end of her life. Kind of got into disagreement about some things. And then I wished her happy Easter and told her I loved her, and that was about it. So we didn't leave really on the best terms, my mom and I. So to answer your question, with my uncle, I heard him say, or heard a voice come to me in a subconscious or whatever vision, whatever. He said, you know, we are more than what we appear to be. And that's what made me realize, wow, you know, death is not the end, you know. It's the end of, we know it as life, as we know it, like physically, but metaphysically and spiritually and other kinds of multidimensional ways, it's not the end, it's just another chapter. So my mom, I haven't really rekindled or reconnected with her since she's past 5 years now. I'm trying to get through it. I'm working through it, but it's a struggle. And there's a lot of trauma back there, and there's a lot of stuff back there. So to answer your question lightly, I have not done any energy work with my mom necessarily. No, I know we've had past life experiences. Because I've told her about that. I have spoken to her about that. I got really choked up and kind of, you know, a lot of anxiety around it, and I shared that with her. And but I don't know how she took it though. So, you know what I mean? I don't know how she took that, but she kind of just, you know, took it as it was, like as face value or something. And so she's like, I'm not going anywhere. This was earlier on before, you know, where she made her transition. But anyway, so that's that. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question at all, but yeah, we have not had any energy. I have not had any energy work to like, kind of connect with her in the other realm, you know.
So I could be totally wrong, but it feels like you're shutting parts of you down because of that. Like it's like as if you're not willing to bridge into your mother now and reestablish a relationship and heal where it is that you guys have left off. That it's kind of like you're putting up your own blocks. And
okay.
So opening to that possibility, and even, you know, setting that intention before you go to sleep to start connecting with her. You know, certainly, you know, you could go down the energy route and look for, you know, like a session, and we could talk through, you know, people can talk through with her. But even just setting that intention and opening that doorway, I feel like facing that and feeling into it will really start to create some shifts for you. And I also want to invite, because I'm really feeling a lot of emotion that's kind of trapped, and just to ask you to feel into your body and what emotions you're really holding on to when you think about your mother, and then start to picture them literally leaving your body, because emotions are really supposed to come in, be acknowledged, felt, and then released, right?
That's the other question I was going to ask. Sorry, you're hitting on something. Sorry, that's something I want to mention about that real quick. Can I ask it real quick, or do you want to finish?
Yeah,
Sorry. So I have that's one thing I'm realizing too, is that I'm having the issue of, first of all, when my mom passed, I had a friend do I think she did a soul retrieval. She cut the cord between me and my mom after she passed, so I would hold on to it. So that's that. And then the other thing is about holding on to feelings and holding on to things. I don't know if it's my Cancer moon or Scorpio rising or what. I have Virgo sun, so I don't know what combination thereof, but I feel like I'm a hoarder of feelings and things. It's really hard for me to let things go. I've always had that issue for a while now. And so maybe that's, if I let that go, that'll be good. So I let it go. So I know we're out of time. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, more practitioner to answer too. Yeah, I've got something else.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're great. You're great. All right. So I think Thorne wanted to go next, and then Susy, and then Marian is next. Right. So Thorne, I just gotta get your video on so I can get you up front. Talk to Thorne to let Thorne know that we're ready for them. Please. Okay, great, great. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right, go ahead. And I'll remove some of us so you can see better.
Okay. Perfect. So your question really touched my heart. Boy, I'm really feeling that. And so while you were telling your story, I had an intuition. And so I pulled some cards for you. And I wanted to explain some cards for you.
Okay.
So you see here,
Mm-hmm.
it's inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were talking about, feeling the blocks and feeling stuck and wanting to kind of release that kind of things. And so as you were working to move through that, and so this inspiration card has appeared for you. It's really a beautiful card.
Mm-hmm.
There's bees and there's the sun and there's flowers on the side there. And so there's a connection with the mouth. And so we express out through our mouths, right? And so,
Right.
and then also it's connected with the throat and the heart. And so these things are related. And so you need to make that shift from your heart to your mouth. And so you might feel like that energy is stuck in there, in that area in your chest there. So relating to your mother and your uncle, they're both are gone. And you're still carrying on, part of their energies there.
True. Yes. Yes, very much.
And so you don't want to judge that. And so you just want to kind of notice and realize that, I still have, you know, and so, so you don't want to, violently push it away, but you want to, work on, naturally releasing these energies. And so you mentioned a Cancer moon, right? Is that so?
Cancer
And
moon,
a
yes.
Virgo sun, I think, and a Scorpio.
Virgo sun and Scorpio rising, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Virgo sun and Scorpio rising.
Mm-hmm.
And so, wow, so that's a really powerful mixture of astrological aspects. And so, there's a holding on and there's the letting go, there's forgiveness. And so you have, these elements are interacting with each other. And so you have that Virgo energy that's a very grounded energy. And
I would encourage you to connect with that Virgo energy again, and with the.
I need to get her to the front. I don't have the right.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm just voicing. It's okay. We'll pause for a second. Don't worry. I just wanted to help. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You don't need to pin me.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to encourage you to let yourself be grounded into both aspects. So your mother and your uncle. Okay.
Yeah. So there would be a good idea to reframe kind of their passing, and reframe what their the passing of them and how to move through with that, with reframing what that felt like to have them pass away.
Okay.
And so the owl is showing you wisdom. And so as you notice things that, you might be blocking from your mind and from your emotions, your heart, and then you can look back and in general and notice, the things that you are missing. And so I find that the owl is a good way to kind of lead you through the dramas and overwhelming of life. And so it teaches you to kind of stop and wait and take notice, and notice what you're missing. So you want to be grounded in that. And so
Faith in the process. Okay, yeah.
In the process.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's reminding you to have faith. And so you want to be grounded in your confidence. So you might not know all of the answers right now, and as you're working through some of your issues right now, you want to take it as, baby steps.
I'm trying to do like 4 things at once.
Okay.
And so you have we have a full moon with an eclipse coming up next week. This is happening, and so that's going to be a big opportunity for you to connect in with your dreams in your dream time, and then that's a time where you can open up that that permission to welcome in to the things that you notice and the things that get your inspiration back and your and this is going to be happening in Sagittarius. And so Sagittarius is about changing your mental state, spirit opening up, and tapping into that process. So I encourage you, take, you don't, so you can take it a step at a time, or you can just go with it. But
Okay.
so you want to be gentle with yourself, and don't judge yourself in this process. And so, allow yourself to, go through the process step by step, and then you can make the connections that you need to with your departed mother and your uncle, and you'll know when it's the right time to do that. And I do a lot of ancestral work too. So if you're curious about that, you can feel free to contact me. No pressure, we're leaving it up to you, of course, but I'm just kind of making that offer for you. So.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Let me get more practitioners up to the front here. And please, if you all could let me know when you switch, that would be great. I want to make sure I don't miss you. Okay. All right. Susy is next. Go ahead, Susy.
Hey, Christopher.
Basically,
How you doing, man? Okay, no, I know how you're doing. You asked the question, so I just I'll skip the pleasantries. So one thing, I tried to tune into your mom, and she's just standing there with her back to me and her arms are crossed, and maybe she'll look over her shoulder like, I don't want to talk. So what I want to, at least what's happened with the people I've known, the family I have who has crossed over, it's not all, they don't like cross over and suddenly get wings and the angels sing, oh,
right.
I have actually had arguments with my dad after he crossed over, because it was the one time I knew he would listen to me. That being said, there is work to be done with your mom. This is an excellent opportunity for you to start doing shadow work. And that is looking at those parts of yourself, which are not all rainbow and unicorns. These are looking at finding, at working through issues, at resolving so much. And as Thorne was saying, it's baby steps. You look at one thing and feel comfortable with it. Now, if you do that through journaling or through meditation, you can do, I feel that, like walking through an emotion, say you're really angry about something and you just go out for a walk, God damn it, and you're just walking, and that helps you work that emotion through. And
Okay.
I'm also getting that it's okay. It's okay. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, that can
That's a
be
lot
a
of
big
work. Yeah.
thing. Yeah, but
sure.
do it a little at a time.
Okay.
Forgive yourself for, I don't know, something small, like for, I don't know, not wiping down the counter today. Make it small so that you can get used to the idea of, and it's not cutting yourself some slack, but it is reclaiming your energy from something so that you can regain that control. Cord cutting, it's going to take a little while. And that phrase, I am a hoarder of feelings, that spoke volumes to me. One thing you could do is, as you release a feeling, you're able to fill it in with something else. So say I release the anger I feel about my neighbor across the street. And then I can fill it in with, I can love somebody. I can love myself even more. I can love this. Whether it's justifying it, I don't think justify is the word I want. Release is really important, to have you let go. And as you let go of these emotions, of this, I feel a lot of blame. You've taken a lot of responsibility for what goes on. There's a soul contract you all had.
Mm.
And through meditation, I've got one on my podcast about rewriting your soul contract.
Mm.
You know, I can make it sound so simple, but when you're looking at deep emotional issues, yeah, it's going to take some time, and you may have to do it more than once, but you have that soul contract in front of you, dated to expire today at this moment. And then next to it, you have a soul contract that says it's today at this moment is effective, with that new clause in there, and start shifting. It's about you're going, it may feel scary to do the shift, but you will find that as you do it more and more, and you have the support of everybody here and anyone you want to help you get through it. It's your work though, and you can do it. I trust that you can. And it is truly about reclaiming your energy so you can be more fully you.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the contract part. Is that something that you write down verbally, like in a journal? Like that, that shows what it's about. I mean, I always think of a contract. That's kind of how I think of it. That's kind of like a literal translation, but
you can write it down. But for what I was talking about, it was in the purpose of a meditation.
Oh,
I have papers everywhere. So if I found my contract,
for sure. Yeah.
So whatever. So for me, it's easier just to work at it at the energetic level. But however it works best for you. That's the beauty of this, is that you do what works best for you. There are tons of techniques out there. Make them work for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good.
Great. Marian, go ahead.
Christopher, hi. What came up for me while Karen was talking is that the wall that Amanda talked about and that Karen mentioned is part of a new space you're building for a new relationship with your mother. It's an energetic space you're creating. So I would say just metaphysical tools, nails, hammer, the wood, the wall board, whatever it is you're using to create that space, make it beautiful.
Okay.
Put some love into it as you're creating it. And then when both of you are ready, that relationship will just unfold for you.
Wow.
Right now, neither one of you are ready.
Yeah,
You'd like it, but you're not ready. And she, as Susy said, has her back turned. She didn't want to talk to you right now. So
I know.
Create your space with the meditation, with all the love that you have for yourself and for her. And maybe it's going to be creating more love for yourself, becoming more loving and accepting of yourself. As part of creating that space. And you can have that relationship renewed with your mom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Marian. So of the 7 talents that I look at in people's eyes, your most important talent is called server. It's about love and intimacy and deep connection. And the big lesson of server is to love oneself. Love oneself first. And along the way there, we often love, people that have this talent love others. They care for others. And they also feel through their hearts and get hurt more easily than other people because their heart is so open. And so they can get hurt and close down their heart. And this is part of like hoarding feelings or hoarding love, right? And it's being mean and, I'm hurt, I'm going to hurt them. And I haven't seen your mom's eyes, so I can't quite speak yet into, if you want to send me a photo later, speak into the dynamic exactly, but it just feels like you're both doing a bit of that with each other. Like you're still in the fights that you were in when she was here on this plane. And I mean, keep staying in that fight and keeping all in that, you're keeping all that really hard energy so in your space, right? And it's like obsessive of like going around and around about it. And
Right. Absolutely right.
trusting,
Sure.
yeah, it's just trusting that you and she, you both did your best. I mean, it may have been so messy in some ways and you wish it had gone differently, but so knowing that you did the best that you know how. And for me, that often opens up some of the energy of acceptance and forgiveness. Even if it was so hard, right? It was just the best that you knew how to be with each other and the best you know how to show up each yourselves.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. That's challenging. It's a lot of work, but I'll work on it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it's just, and so a great way to do this is choose someone else in your life. If there are any little kids that are in your life or any really good friends you have, even when they mess up, don't you know that they're doing their best?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So you can feel that, and you can feel that innocence and that purity of them. So you want to think about them and think about how that's true of them, and then come back to think of you or come back to think of your mom. And you might lose it really quickly. So go back to think of that little child or the animal or the friend, right? And then
I'm
come
thinking
back.
about adopting a cat. Actually, I kind of want to get a cat, but I haven't gotten one yet. But I'm thinking about owning a cat.
It's building that muscle and building that awareness of you can feel that about others.
Yeah.
So that must be true also of you. It must be true also of her. And sometimes, depending on what happens, sometimes the healing can be feeling angry at her and how something wasn't fair and wasn't right, and particularly while you're young. And so letting yourself feel the anger can be part of that process of healing, and feeling the anger first, right, before you go into that, knowing that she did her best.
Thank you. Yeah, I have trouble expressing anger too, but that's another thing. I won't go into it too much, but yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. I know there's other people. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So practitioners, any other practitioners want to jump in and share anything with Christopher?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm just checking with the other practitioners to see if anyone else wants to jump in.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
All right, great. Might be everything. I just want to give everyone a chance. Yeah, thank you so much, Christopher.
Yeah, thank you so much, Laureli. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Have a good night.
Thanks for supporting us doing this, supporting everybody with their answers.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Take care.
All right, great. Let's see. So we've got Jasmine in line next. Jasmina, let's get you up here.
Hi. Oh God, I have so many questions, but I'll try to.
Oh, and if you have a few that are related, I mean, go ahead and ask them, and we'll see how we can combine them in our answers.
I was just listening to a lot of the things that you guys were saying, and I can understand. I've had a lot of experiences. Like there's moments where, and I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but and it sounds crazy, but I'll see a squirrel, you know, I'm like, you know what? I think I know what that feels like to like run up the tree. So I understand that, like, if I know I've been here before, or at least I feel that way. My earliest, my dad was an atheist, my mom was Catholic, but I always knew there was more. You know, I always hung out with my dad a lot, and took a lot of, you know, what his theories and everything, but I just knew that there was always more. And my first encounter with a moment where I had deja vu, I was in college and I wasn't high or anything, you know, but I remember looking up in the stars, and I was with someone, not romantically involved or anything, and I just stopped. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been here before. I've been here, this very moment, this very thing, you know, what is this, you know? And then more recently, the way Marian, I think it is, described, you know, I have a connection with my boss. It's really strange. When I first met him, I know you. I don't know how I know you. I've never seen you. We're different. You're different, you know, we're different races and everything. Like, but I know you. I know how you think. I know how you know, I have to help you. I have to help you, you know? And so, you know, we frustrate each other all the time, but, you know, that's, you know, I think I'm there because it's something that he has to do, and I'm supposed to help him, Like today, I was telling him about someone that we said no in hiring and someone else hired them. But all to say, I know I'm fascinated with past lives. I know I've been here before. I want to learn more about that. But my biggest question is, my son is a narcissist and I love him, but it's hard because I know that he has no feelings. It's not that he doesn't have any feelings, but it's almost like an alligator or a shark, like he just doesn't feel the way other people feel. He doesn't have that empathy. He can be mean even to his other, siblings, even to his my ex, his dad, who at one time he was in the hospital and he didn't go see him till, like, I don't know, maybe the 5th day. So with me, in my mind, I'm always prepared not to get hurt, because I know that, or even when he tries to hurt me, I always remember what he is, right? Like, and I am like, okay, I can't let him hurt me, but what is the purpose of a narcissist then? If we all have a mission, if we all have something to do, how does that play out? And I think that's something that really, like, I'm always thinking about. I'm like, how does that, what is the point of that, and what do they come to learn? Because I don't think really, do they learn anything? I mean, I don't know. So I'm sorry, I'm just rambling.
No, that's great. That's great. We've had some panels that focus on narcissism as part of the theme. So yeah, it's a topic. All right, let's see. We've got Amanda in line and Susie in line. I just want to give everyone else chances too, because Amanda and Susie, you totally know this game and you know how to, like, get in here. So just Prakash and, like, Magiky, I just want to make sure you all know how to, and Helen is somewhere deep in this. I want to make sure she's here too. She probably left and came back, maybe. If you all want to answer.
We're gonna switch interpreters.
Yeah,
now.
great. Let me get something out and let me get you in. All right, get you in here. Okay, great. You're up. Yeah, so if someone else wants to go, I want to give you an opportunity to get in front of them, but it's fine. We let them go too. Yeah, whenever Thorne wants to go in, I just need to know. All right, Amanda, you go, and then Susie.
Okay, hi. So I draw, this is your energy right here. I drew you as a mirror. And I saw you as, okay, so wait, now I have to go back in my mind to what I was seeing. Hold on. Okay. It's a mirror and it's connected to everything. So it's not just a mirror out in space, but there's like a very big connection to the wall. And then there's a connection to whatever the heck's happening up there. We haven't gotten there. We don't know what that is yet. So it's definitely a strong sense of connection and what's the word? Not duty, but like the way things should be, like sense of like, oh, what's the word for it? Oh shoot. Okay. Okay, wait. Does anyone know what I'm thinking of? What's that word? It's like it's like that very traditional value of like holding everything together in the world, and it should be this way. It's a strong belief system. There's a specific word for this. I'm sorry.
Tradition?
Non-duality, idealism? Yeah, we don't know. Sorry.
Obligation?
Okay, well, apparently that word's not necessary right now. Sorry. Anyway, okay. So I did see you as a mirror, and I saw you when I was seeing you with your boss, I was seeing like you seeing the best in him. So you're seeing like parts of yourself in him. You're seeing like you're relating to who he is as a person. You're like seeing you see parts of him, parts of yourself in this person. So that's why that's what you're doing, I feel like. And so that's why you're having such a hard time with your son, because you're doing the same thing. You're seeing the parts that are like the real parts and the good parts that you're seeing. And then it's hard when you're in that to like remember all the time that there's like the other side of it. And in my opinion, I think that, well, who knows, like, because some things actually, Perthrow is the rune that represents meaninglessness. So everything has meaning that exists in consciousness without consciousness. And also everything has no meaning at the same time, right? There's like two sides of it. And so you could think of there is no point, there is no meaning for him to have this. Another thing to think about though would be maybe it gives us, like, when you see an absence of something, it makes you see what something really is. It helps you see it in a different way. And it helps you see yourself and other people differently when you see like when it's missing. I don't know if that makes sense. So he would be like a different kind of mirror for other people. Different kind of mirror.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard with at least with my son. I because I try to connect sometimes, but the only time I connect with him is if his dad and him are not getting along.
I just had an idea. Can I tell you really quick because it might come out right? Okay. You guys are both mirrors, but you are the kind of mirror that's reflecting back like the best parts of somebody, and he's the kind of mirror that's reflecting back the part of someone that's like the shadow side, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody has both sides to them. They just like, some people keep stuff in, some people put stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
Right.
probably right, because I can't, sometimes when he tries to hurt me, he can't, because I'm already ready, and he's my son, so I already know, what you're gonna do, what you might say, whereas other people, he will really, really hurt them, you know what I mean? And doesn't do it well, I don't know if he does it intentionally. It's just such a hard thing. It's such a hard thing. But my ex was a narcissist. I think
figured.
I think that's where he got it. It's as a child, he wasn't like that. We were very close. So, but I always wondered, I'm like, what is the point of that? What did he come to learn?
Jasmina, I want to just, if I can just have you be brief. I know more people want to answer, so I want to be able to get more answers from people. Amanda, did you get everything?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Susie, go ahead. And then Thorne after that.
Thorne can go on ahead. That's fine.
So Thorne can go first if Thorne wants to. Thorne, focus on being prompt if you can. We've got a few other questions too. Thorne, are you ready? Thorne may not be ready yet.
Okay, that's fine. If they're not ready.
Thorne's ready. Thorne's
there
ready.
they are.
Here we go. Hold on. Whoops, I got to replace the spotlight. Whoops. All right. Now everyone's up in here. Okay, hold on. All right, go ahead.
Great. Okay. Okay, perfect. So while Jasmina was speaking and commenting, I was paying attention and listening and feeling into it. And wow, I can totally empathize with how, how you're feeling. That kind of influence, that kind of narcissism, that connection, that space is a tough space to be in. It's a really a struggle to kind of deal with all that. So also I'm recognizing that you mentioned Deja Vu. And that has this feeling of, oh, wow, I've been here before. I've had this experience before. I'm recognizing, what does that mean? What does this experience mean? Wow, what am I feeling? That whole experience, I feel that deja vu is really challenging. So I also pulled a few cards for you that I want to share and how it may apply to this situation for you. So lavender. And that is connected with the body and the mind and spirit and bringing all those together. It's connected with balance, alignment. When you open to another level, and are closed to another level, maybe then certain things are a little bit off. So you have to align both of those together. It can be kind of like a twisty turny path to figure out what you want to connect with, what you want to integrate into your life. Mm-hmm. Second card I pulled is this one. Bronze. I get the feeling this is more about rooting what you already know within you, what you already feel and recognize. Same, what Amanda said about the mirror idea and image. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like that a picture of the mirror where you see the best in somebody else and then the other person reflects back the shadow. Yeah, I totally can see that. So I feel like that's quite accurate, that mirror analogy. And it's also really important to not totally immerse yourself and become stuck in that. You got to kind of pull back a little bit. and think, how can you integrate that into your understanding? How can you use that experience to make medicine for yourself from your own experience? How can you apply it to make medicine to take for yourself? And you can't completely support their behavior. That's not what it's about. But how can you listen with empathy? How can you listen with your heart and provide some kind of a shift, as much of a shift as possible? So as far as deja vu goes, I believe that there are a variety of experiences out there that can offer us wisdom. One way we can integrate the understanding within the moment, but also sometimes deja vu is just a little bit of a reminder. Maybe it's something that we already know and have forgotten. We've already gotten that lesson, but we need to be reminded of that lesson. Or sometimes the deja vu is to remind us to remember of the joy that we know how to experience, that we have experienced before, and that we can take that opportunity to experience that joy again. So there are a variety of ways that deja vu can serve us on different trajectories. So I would suggest that to ask the deja vu itself, what is the wisdom that you want me to remember? Or what do you want me to connect with? Or something like, sometimes there might be a person who feels like, I have a deja vu with that person, but that is only a reminder for us to say, oh, that's familiar. How do I bring that into my body wisdom? It's really interesting how that can show up in our lives. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I could just go dig into forever, but I just want to give you a little nugget of information, and I hope that helps to answer some of your questions.
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Thanks.
Because I enjoy looking at the stars, and I have, a telescope and the moon and all those things. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I just enjoy that. So that experience happened at an earlier age, and now it's like, a big deal. So yeah, I can see that. So I will ask that question. What is it that I need to, remember? So interesting. Yeah.
One last thing I want to share for Jasmina is one more card.
Okay.
I really like this card because it reminds us to remember that equilibrium, the clarity, the balance of shadow and light. We all have both inside of us. And some people have more shadow than light, and some of us have more light than shadow. Some of us have just a complete balance. It's just a variety. And as you connect with your son and like the narcissism aspect and the shadow aspect, as you're trying to figure out how to handle it, that your son is on that journey of learning, and it's not you're responsible to control all outcomes for him. But at the same time, you need to keep showing the light, reflecting light, being that mirror for him, so that he can look and see who you are and what you're doing and learn from that. So maybe he will say, oh, that's right, I remember how the light feels, and he will be able to emulate that and follow that and integrate that into his life. So just a little tidbit for you.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Thorne. All right, other practitioners, does anyone else want to share? I know I've got something I can share, but I want to give everyone else a chance to. Anyone else? Okay. So the thing that I see, let me put me in here too. So your first talent in your eyes is priest, priestess. Priest is about seeing not only what's here, they see what's possible. They want to inspire and motivate people to stretch and reach for what's possible. So along the way, they see that and they want that. In the beginning, they push too hard, and then they celebrate progress and they push more gently. And then they eventually realize that that's just one possibility. And really their aim is to help whatever context they're in now discover what's wanted. And it might be this and it might be this. And they know that the pace and the progress is perfect. Like there's no rush. Like whatever pace we're at, wherever we are is perfect. And I think that there's an answer to your question, and then there's a lesson for you in here. So like I imagined his father must have been a narcissist, and just because that was your pattern, I'm sure you've grown since when you chose him, but really look to see if there are any lessons like that in your boss right now. And then what does the narcissist do that's so difficult? The narcissist always goes back to their own experience, and they assume that their experience, whatever they see, their perspective must be the thing that is so. So their lesson really is to learn to see other than their own perspective, right? So you, priest, priestess, you're able to see and feel the potential in everybody that you look at, right? You have it as your first talent, so it gets directed outwards. And it's the desire for people to stretch and reach that potential. And one of the big lessons of priest, priestess is that they forget that this is potential. It's not here now. And they can work with people as the potential and they get frustrated. And they put so much energy into trying to get people to grow. And I think that the big lesson for you with priestess is to focus on what's here right now. Be with your son right now, not attempting to get him to grow or go forward. So be with him right now. I think that that's actually part of the secret to having him open and expand also, if he chooses to, right? You don't know what his soul is going to choose in this life. So for example, when he does something, and I assume like he gets triggered and he goes to gaslighting or something like that, or blames you, it's to say back to him something like, you may think that, or you may see that, believe that, blah, blah, blah. And what I know is that I, blah, 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 and only talk about yourself. Don't talk about him. Like what I know about me is that blah, blah, blah. So you're presenting that other perspective, but doing it in a grounded in yourself, like you know that way. He can think, believe whatever he wants, right? And you be here and like, this is what I know. And you just be that loving space for him. And he takes in whatever part of it he takes in. And I think that it'll start to get in little cracks.
Okay.
Right? And you have to not be attached to it getting in little cracks though, because that has you not be here now. Right?
Okay.
The more that you're in the future, it keeps him from actually moving forward because he has something to resist against.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and look to see if there's any of this pattern with your boss. I don't know who your boss is, but is there any way that you're caught in his potential or you're playing out, and it just look just to see that you don't have any repeated lesson in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Anyone have anything else to? Oh, are you switching? Getting into it?
Yeah.
All right. Great. Yeah. Practitioners. Anything else? All right. Great. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
All right, and just a reminder, this is all recorded, so you can go back and listen again. I got to get it uploaded. All right. Let's see. All right, so Martha, you are next. Where is Martha?
Hi.
Oh, great. Hi. All right, what is your question today, Martha?
Hi. Well, let's keep it in theme. Anybody sees any past lives and anything about my karma, and just keep it open to that.
It's great. It's great. And you've asked questions before, so some of us are familiar with you, and for some of us, you're fresh. Yes, they're checking in. Go ahead, Susie.
I have to find me now. Hey, Martha, have we talked about your life among the Essenes at the time of Christ?
Galactic Ashley actually mentioned that I was part of.
Okay.
Susie, it's a little hard to hear you, so if you can like move the microphone maybe a little up to your mouth, or thanks.
How about that?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Okay. I don't know about my audio now. Okay. So, yeah, you've spent time along with the Essenes. I don't see you as being with Mary Magdalene so much, but there is a strong connection with Mother Mary, and I know we've talked about that. So there were the Essenes, and you've kind of vaguely followed the Christ consciousness around. So you were part of his, when he went traveling in that time, nobody knows about, he went traveling to the East and you were with him. You were part of his entourage, if you will, at that time. And then you have spent some time maintaining the sanctity or the integrity of the Christ consciousness message. And that's what your connection with Our Lady of Lourdes is about. You were among the crowds at the time when she stepped forward, and you were one of the ones who have historically spent time maintaining the site. And that's part of the reason that site means so much to you, why that aspect of divine feminine means so much to you. But it's not so much in this Christian context. You've got, feels like a druidic lineage in there too, where there is a balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, that Christ consciousness and the Sophia. You work with those together to maintain that integrity. And what they are trying to do is to have it inform your purpose as a healer. Yeah, you can see people in their body and where they're holding stuff, but you, what I am seeing as a possibility, none of this is written in stone because free will and all that good stuff, but you have that amazing ability and possibility to help people rejoin with their spirit. You're helping them reconnect with that divine knowing that they have, that that allows them to move forward in not only their life. You're not so much a gatekeeper. You're not so much one who introduces people to the idea. You, as people awaken, you are finding them, they will come to you so that you can say, look, here, let me give you a tour of spirituality here, and this is what you can look at, and you help direct people to what resonates with them. So kind of an intermediary. Yeah, but there is a point you're helping to move the flow of new consciousness of these people who are awakening to to their true self in their connection with divine. You're helping to move them along and say, look, this is what you can do. Look at the possibilities, and you'll be able to use your, what is this? Your knowing to see into them and see what it is that they will be good at. You will give them that connection with divine so that they can access all of their clairs, whether it's clairvoyance or clairaudience, but you have that clair, is that sentience or cognizance? I don't know which one it is, but that knowing, and you will be able to see people and connect them with their higher selves in such a way that it is more comfortable for them to use their intuition. You're going to help people clear out a whole lot of the blockages they build around themselves. But again, it's your choice how you choose to use this ability. But that's what I'm seeing for you right now.
That resonates.
Thanks.
Great, and that's claircognizance. And Amanda's next, and evidently her drawing goes along with Susy's reading.
Woo-hoo.
Which is perfect for me because you've done all the talking. Thank you, Susie. I drew this before you started talking, okay? And then when you started talking, I was like, oh yeah, that's good. I drew like the star that, talking about Christ consciousness, I drew the star that led everyone to baby Jesus and the little, what's that star? The star that everyone follows. So I drew that, but I drew it like red over yellow. So I see it as more like a pinkish. So like if it was like, had more of a feminine pull to it instead of just, anyway. And then I drew your energy right next to it, which is like more of the divine feminine right next to it. That's you. And that goes along with what all Susie was saying. Can you see it?
Yes, I see the star. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you. That's you, and that's you next to it. Okay.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Karen, go ahead.
So I connected in with a different aspect of you, and I was really seeing you as a seer, seeing you as a seer in ancient Rome. And the words finding the way or showing the way were coming through. Really kind of, I guess, in line with what we've been hearing, like showing people what's possible and helping them get the guidance that they need to have. So I just saw like this beautiful, like large door opening, and you were in these robes, and people would come to you for guidance on really big things. Like, do they have kings in Rome? Let me show how much history I can't recall right now. Thank you. Like, you know, really big, important people in powerful positions coming and looking for insight and clarity that you were able to provide in a way that seamlessly transitioned into their ideals or the approaches that they wanted to take. And you were able to sort of translate the information and give them that guidance. And it feels very much still alive in your field now.
Thank you.
All right, great. Anyone else have something to share with Martha? Oh, anyone else? Thorne, if you want to leap up here, go ahead. Or yeah, and something royalty makes a lot of sense to me. Knowing you and feeling your energy. Yeah. Yeah, and practitioners that don't often share in this realm too. Like if you have like you kind of wonder you might have something, you're not sure, feel free to take the risk and share. You're welcome to explore with that here too. All right, great. Yeah, that may be what we've got today, Martha.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
was very good.
You're very welcome. All right, Sonia, you're next, and then Jocelyn. Sonia, where are you? I need to have your video on so I can spotlight you. You are here. Ask you to unmute.
I'm trying.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. Video's on. All right.
Yeah.
Sonia, what is your question?
Yeah, Sonia here.
Sonia, we can't hear you very well.
You can't hear me? Oh no. Okay, let me try
Well, a
something.
little bit. We hear you a little bit. It's just low.
Okay, maybe I can speak up just a second. Let me try something here. I'm trying to. Let me see. Give me just a second. Okay. All right. Did that help any?
Not really. I'm going to turn up my volume, but just we'll have to raise and lower as different people speak, just so we're all careful with our ears.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. All right. So my question is not strictly about a past life, which I'm thinking it kind of might be, but it's about a recurring dream theme I've had ever since childhood, and I wrote down some notes. That's where I was when you were calling me. So I'm going to try to be brief, but ever since childhood, I always had a dream about running away from something or getting away. And I never thought it was a recurring dream until the dream I had 2 weeks ago. But after that, I just kind of thought, this has got to be something, because it's always the same kind of thing. I used to like to watch scary movies when I was little, so it would be like about space aliens or monsters or something chasing me. And I thought I could springboard my way. I thought I could run and jump on the telephone wires and then springboard out into space or springboard away from whatever was chasing me. And then as I got older, it was the same situation about getting away, except it turned into I would be in a vehicle, and I would be at an event, like in a parking garage or something, and trying to get out of the parking garage or drive into the facility, like an industrial facility or something, and be in my car trying to leave with everyone else and get separated, or be in my car trying to get into the building and drive to a certain place in the building, and my vehicle would disappear, and I would all of a sudden be on my feet, walking, running, whatever, and end up in a maze. And I could hear noise behind me like it was chasing me. And there was all these stairs or doors or something to go through. And I try to find my way out, and I end up, a brick wall. And then it was always that kind of thing. And then I didn't have this dream for a long time. And so I had the same kind of dream 2 weeks ago, where I was in my car, the current car I have. I had a job. I drove back to the job because I had to return something, like some headphones or something, whatever the reason. And it was at night. So I think I worked like during the day shift. And the place where I worked was in a neighborhood. It was like a business in a residential area. So I drove up, there was other cars there. I parked my car, I went inside. People were working at one end of the building, and where I wanted to return whatever it was, I went to the other end of the building. And I was standing there shuffling through the receipts or the notes so I could find the paper that I needed to sign to return whatever it was. I don't know if it was headphones or whatever. And then all of a sudden I realized the lights were out behind me. There wasn't any noise anymore because everyone's shift was over. And then I kind of panicked, and I said, okay, well, I'll just maybe like leave this for tomorrow. And I turned to go out the door, and the door wouldn't open. And then where I was standing in the place, it got totally dark. And so I panicked again. And I said, okay, wait, I can get out. And I kept fumbling with the door, and I finally opened it. And as I was closing it, there was like a large standard poodle, but I wasn't afraid. It was like a guard dog, but I wasn't afraid because I don't know why. That's like the dog was there, but they weren't trying to attack me. So I closed the door just in time to keep the dog in there, turned around, went to go to my car, which I had parked on the other side of a large truck or something. So I couldn't see it until I got to the other side of the vehicle, and my car was gone. Again, my vehicle always disappears. And so there was a couple of guys in a vehicle on the other side of the truck, and I went to them and I said, hey man, somebody stole my car. Can you give me a ride to the main street? Because this was like deep in a residential area at night, no bus service or anything like that. Can you give me a ride to the main street? And they were like, they didn't see me, or they were ignoring me. And so I said, fine. I walked away, went over to some other people parked out on the street. And I don't know if race has anything to do with this, but these were two white guys. Okay, fine. Walked out on the street, and there was an African woman. She was getting ready to get in her car. And I asked her the same question. And all of a sudden she couldn't speak English and started speaking some African language and pretty much shined me off. And then I asked someone else. There was a lady, two white women in a truck. And I went up and asked them. And the truck turned into a bicycle. I said, can I get in the back of your, and the truck disappeared, and the other lady was on a bicycle, and she was riding away from me, and I'm running behind her saying, hey, would you help me? Help me. Would you help me? And nobody was helping me. So finally, the only person left was this older guy coming out of the parking lot. I ran back to him, and he asked me where I needed to go. And I said, Thorne. I don't know what significance that is, but it was, I guess that's the area I lived in versus the area where my job was. And he said he couldn't help me because he had to get home to his wife and his mother, and he took care of both of them, and he drove off.
Did you say Thorne?
Yeah, like Thorne.
Well, you know, and we have Thorne by that spelling here as a practitioner today.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, so Thorne, get ready. You're supposed to answer this one. I've got it all written up.
okay.
Um,
And I'm not quite done. I'm almost done, but let me finish this part here.
Okay.
So, you know, all of a sudden, not only was my car gone, but after this last guy drove off, the residential area turned into a stockyard. And whatever the job was, there was like, how can I say it? Like mechanical parts and things like that. And so I've seen this in my mind's eye before, either in a movie or something else. But some of these mechanical parts turned into like a spinning, like worm caterpillar or something, and it was coming after me. So I ran away from, and then the building disappeared, but all the houses and everything disappeared, and I was like in a train yard. So I ran across some of these train tracks, and all of a sudden these trains, boxcars, these were in color because my dream was in color and black and white. So they were in color, and the train was going one direction down the tracks, and another train was going another direction down the tracks. And I had to time it so I could run between the two trains to get away from this mechanical thing that was chasing me. So I did that and ran to some really big, heavy wooden doors that slid open. And I ran towards those. I ran through the doors, opened them, and then there was another train coming down from the other direction. And at that point, that's when I was uneasy, but that's when I got really afraid, because then I knew the train could see me. I know it sounds crazy. So I went back to the door and leaned up against the door as best I could, and waited for the other two trains to finish what they were, to finish going back and forth, and still looking at this other train coming towards me. And I wanted to like slide.
Sonia, you went mute. Sonia?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, great. Now we can hear you better. All right. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah. And so the other two trains finished, their one direction, the other direction, and I ran in between those two trains. But the other train started chasing me. And at that point, that's when I woke up, felt like there was an elephant on my chest and a big hole in my heart. And so I thought that feeling was part of the dream in terms of like being afraid or whatever. But that's the notes I was writing down here. I think it was because I fell asleep without my CPAP, and that will happen when I don't have enough oxygen. You stop breathing. So I'm not really sure if that feeling I had after the dream had anything to do with the dream. I'm thinking more about the CPAP, but maybe you guys can tell me. So yeah, generally my dreams are in black and white. This one was, color and black and white. And yeah, and that's when it hit me that this must be something going on, because it's always the same kind of thing, same kind of theme. I mean, there's probably more detail, but I know we don't have a lot of time, but I think you guys can probably get the gist.
Okay, that's
Anybody?
great. Yeah, and I'm just going to put the notes in the chat here, so if Thorne wants to, Thorne can go through any of this again. And it looks like we've got, one second, Amanda, Karen and Amanda. So Karen, go ahead first, Karen.
We're going to switch interpreters right now too.
Great, thanks. You're both here. Go ahead.
Okay, so as you were talking, what was coming through for me was really that you're having a lot of galactic lifetimes bleeding through, and it's almost like you're not actually grounded in this life. So this feeling of being chased, of not being safe, of not being able to get away when you have danger, or when your hackles are up, so to speak, and there's like a potential threat. It's like you're almost not fully grounded into your physicality and accepting of the fact that this is where you are right now. And so whether it's other aspects of you that are kind of bleeding into you in a sleep state, or that you're recalling things from other timelines, but it very much feels like there's an absence of being fully present in your body and being fully accepting of this life and the circumstances of your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's really kind of feel into all aspects of your body, connecting in with the earth, you know, grounding, do meditations where they, you know, connect you down into the center of the earth and really connect in with that energy. And I've never used this, but it's just coming through. They have those grounding sheets for beds. And I feel like that might be a good way to ground you in when you sleep as well.
I mean, like a weighted blanket?
That could work too, yeah. To help ground you in. And I wonder if you're even astral traveling a little bit and mixing up the messages when you come back. So that's what I have for you.
Great. And I want to mention too, like, I'm really interested in that there's so many vehicles in this, and that's something really interesting to me about that. So Amanda, go ahead.
Yeah, they're there and then they disappear. Can't get away.
I'm pretty into the fact that my pictures are going along with what you guys are saying. Makes it easier for me. Okay, so I literally couldn't hear what you were saying most of the time until Susie told me to turn up the volume on my computer. So I don't really know too much about the details, but I can tell you what I drew for your energy. And it did connect with what I heard later on when I turned the volume up. Okay, I drew you initially as a fence. And then as you said, train tracks, I was like, you know, these could actually be train tracks too. So if that's, and then, so I drew that, and then I drew, so it's okay, wait. That's the first part of your energy. And then I drew this light behind it, like this really, really bright light. And then I was having the feeling that nothing can hurt a light, right? So if you're a light, this goes along with what the last practitioner said. If you're a light and you're not a person, right, then nothing can really touch you because you don't have like a physical body. So you're not hurtable. So, okay, wait, where am I going with this? Well, that's what I drew for your energy. And that's kind of the feeling that I got, that you were that light and behind this fence. But don't worry about these things that are in your dream as concrete things so much, in my opinion, because since you're the light, like nothing can actually hurt you. Like you're inside of you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, great. Susie, go ahead.
Hey, Sonia.
Hi,
I agree. I agree with Karen is that you had some astral travel going on there. When I was a kid, I would dream about swinging around poles, or I used a lot of electrical wires to swing and do that like uneven bar gymnastic thing to swing and to propel me out of there. So I believe there is some astral traveling happening out there. The vehicles are hitting me really hard. This is a question of whether you're going to come back or not. I haven't thought that one through, but but you say they kept disappearing, so you're not going to come back right at that moment. Maybe, oh boy. Okay, hold on. The vehicles may be representative of you and that you are in a different body at the time, so that vehicle that's still in your dream is not serving you for the purpose that you would expect it to. But you do come back. I think the astral traveling is important because you are traveling to different places within the whole time space continuum. And it's not quite, you don't quite have that mental, that imagery, vocabulary to identify where it is, because there is that feeling of fear of, oh my God, I'm being chased. So if you could question everything you see, it's like, you know, talking to the mechanical worm. It's like, what do you want? What do you represent? What flip it into lucid dreaming, where you know what's going on and you respond to what's going on and ask those questions. It's not so much about changing how the dream goes, but questioning that particular aspect of reality you're looking at that moment.
Okay.
That's I think the big lesson in it for you is to question your reality.
Question my reality in the dream or question my
In the
reality?
dream.
Okay.
In the dream. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I got. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm so busy trying to get away and panicking.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's taking that moment to breathe, and maybe the CPAP is playing into that. You don't have that opportunity to breathe. So taking that moment to breathe and go, wait a minute, you know, what are you trying to tell me? And questioning it, that'll give you more direction. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
Okay.
See you later.
Great. All right. And Thorne has something. Thorne, come on in. This is great. You're in the dream.
One second. Hold.
Okay, let me move. Let me take some people. I'll just take some people off. Let me,
It is. Are we good? Yeah. There we go. Hello, Sonia.
Hi, Thorne.
I found it very interesting that your dream was in black and white and color, or the variety, which like different parts were in different colors, or they were in black and white. And also the parts where you're feeling chased and they were breathing, and at the same time you were recognizing the different people that you were running into and asking for help, and they weren't helping, and so you had to go to in a new direction and ask for help. And I think it's interesting to notice the different elements involved in that dream. I mean, we could analyze this forever, but the point would be, I'm feeling that two things specifically are showing up for me. One is your need to feel safe and comfortable. It seems like the body wants to feel safe. Your body wants to feel safe, and just, you're trying to figure out how to do that in the dream. Also, how to trust where support can be found. Because you meet all these different characters within the dream and you keep running into these dead ends. And while you were telling your story, it reminded me a little bit of Alice in Wonderland, of these different events and just being lost in the swirl of characters and elements. And it seems a little bit like you're trying to follow something, that same feeling of the movie or the book, like it's that same element of chasing something. And that idea of integration, of trusting yourself first. And Alice, where's the white rabbit? Which character is the right, like, where is the white rabbit in that? Is it the dream? Is it your guide? Is it your support? Is it your coach? Or same idea like the Cheshire Cat? What character would that be? Did that character, the kind of popping up and disappearing again? You were driving in your dream, right? Like
I drove up to the building and got out of my car. And then after that, when I came out, I was on my feet running, and my car was gone. So the only way to move was to walk or run. Yeah.
Yeah, and Thorne had mentioned that the Cheshire Cat is kind of like your car itself, of like disappearing and reappearing and disappearing and reappearing. And I feel, as I look at that, something significant. And then you woke up, the breathing with the CPAP machine. And do you remember that maybe that you set up a safe space when you wake up, that you have an important way? Is there a way that you can feel safe when you go to sleep and when you wake up, to set up that safe space for yourself? And so when that kind of a thing happens, like a dream like that, of that significance happens again, that you can have a way to ground yourself and kind of take control of what's happening more and shift the energy so that it is not so out of control, and like Alice having to sort of navigate all that.
Are you asking me?
I think you're onto something, but there's a little bit more that you need to, I think you're onto something important as you analyze this dream, but there's some more to kind of dig into before you kind of get to the full revelation of what it has.
Okay, well, I think you hit upon something very important when you said the first time about my need to be safe, feel safe, and how to trust where support can be found. Because I did not feel supported by my parents when I was a kid. And so when you said that, that just light bulb came on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to work through that now. I mean, both my parents are deceased, so you know, I just have to do this myself. And you know, maybe I did connect with another intuitive, and on 2 different occasions, both of my parents were there. They came through. And then the second time, it was just my mother, and she apologized. I was told, she said, "I'm sorry for not listening to you." So both of those situations were very profound, but especially the second one, because I hadn't told the intuitive anything about my childhood. Because, you know, so I feel that that was real, that she was actually there, and she knows, she's learned, she sees everything I'm going through now as an adult, and how a lot of things affected me as a child. So yeah, there's a lot more to that, but yeah, that's interesting that you would say that. And the white rabbit is the support. I have to read Alice in Wonderland again, because
Say that again. I missed that.
Yeah,
I said I'm gonna have to read Alice in Wonderland again, because now that you've mentioned those characters, the white rabbit being the support, and the Cheshire cat appearing and reappearing, disappearing. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then Alice going through her travels. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
I think it would be a good idea, definitely, to read that book again. I think that could give you a few more clues to your dreams and help you to navigate. And also, I think that another book called Alice Through the Looking Glass, or that could be a good one for you. I would
Say that
encourage
again,
you.
please.
Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that other book would help you, I think, too.
Okay.
So I'm here if you need to contact me for any reason. I'm available.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I know Amanda wants to add something briefly. I do too, but and we'll both be brief, and then practitioners will have, those of you that have to leave, introduce yourselves, and then we have one more question from Jocelyn, and the rest of us will stay to answer that one. So Amanda, go ahead.
Okay, I was drawing this for you at the end of this. This is the rune algaes in the runes, and this has to do with protection. And then I colored in the third et in the rune wheel, and that has to do with the spiritual part of our journey, more of a cosmic connection to things. So I was feeling like this was actually a message from your parents, that you don't actually need them to be here, but they were always protecting you, even if they're not physically here, but they can actually protect you now better than they could before. Like they couldn't then, but now they actually can, because you can tap into their energy now that they're not in physical form. So you can use so, if that makes sense. And yeah, so just think about the concept of protection and what that means, and ways to protect yourself and your own energy. Okay.
Right, and the little bit from me is I used to have repeating dreams as a child. Fortunately, they went away, but I was able to tie them back to what I was experiencing in my life. And so you want to look for themes of what you're experiencing in your life. I had chase dreams. I was trapped. I escaped, and then people were chasing me as I was attempting to get away. And the jail I was in looked a ton like my bedroom and my parents' house. And it was like my mom had people that were chasing me. Like, it just related to trauma and my parents and other trauma, and just it makes a lot of sense why this happened. So the vehicles all are really interesting to me. And then I was remembering that you've had some trouble with mobility at times. So it's interesting too that you just had all these vehicles, and look back to see if you've had any other trouble with mobility throughout your life, just to see if there are any other themes of that. And then not being able to breathe, like how do you not feel free in your life? How do you not feel able to breathe? How do you feel stuck, or how do you feel held in, and you don't get all the nutrients that you need, right? Just look to see where there are any of those things now too, just to see what meaning it might have about decisions in your life now.
Okay.
Yeah. And then one way of interpreting a dream too is to imagine that every element is actually you. So every character in the dream, everything about the settings, all those things. And so you can look to see what else might be useful in there, looking at it that way.
Okay.
I totally may have spent other lives running also, like, so it could be other, past life type things too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, when I wake up, I try to go back and change it. I try to go back to sleep and make the dream the way I wanted it to end. And, that's not the same thing.
And I like just, if you're writing down too, if you didn't write down lucid dreaming earlier, someone else mentioned lucid dreaming. So you could become aware that you're dreaming in the dream, and you could choose to change how the dream goes. You could choose, for example, to pause the dream and take a breath. Right? There's lots of things you could do. All right.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you so much for your question.
Thank you for answering.
You are welcome. All right, let me get more practitioners up in here. Let's see. So some practitioners have to go. Let's see. Are you switching? Are you all switching or no? Okay.
Yep. Switching to first thing.
Sorry, are you switching? Oh, you are? Okay, hold on. Let me move you around. Move you back in. Okay, so practitioners that have to go, please go ahead and introduce your name, your modalities, and say your contact info so it's on the video. So if people come back and watch the video later, they can find you. And I know Thorne, you have to introduce yourself. So yeah, any other practitioners that have to leave, we've got one more question that we're going to answer before we finish. So Amanda, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. But one last thing. This right here is for everybody here. Trust the human condition and consolidating the divine feminine. So that's for like the whole thing. Okay. That being said, my name's Amanda Root with snowmoontarot.com. I do intuitive rune art readings, which show many things in them, including past lives sometimes. You can reach me at snowmoontarot.com, and I think that's it. And if you'd like to buy a digital copy of this, I can email it to you. Just PayPal me $15 or submit your contact to me, and then I will tell you how to do that if you don't know how. Okay, that's it.
Great. And I'm going to put all the practitioner information in the chat again too, for those of you that are here today. And everyone has specials, and like all of them, there's contact infos there and all that stuff too. All right, Thorne, did you want to go? I just want you all to have a chance that have to go. I know. Yeah, Thorne, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. And so my name is Thorne, and that's my name sign. And so I'm in the Portland, Oregon area, and I'm deaf, and I work with ASL. And so I'm an intuitive Magiky reader, and I use different modalities. I use runes, and I use tarot, and I do energy healing work. Let's see, and I also do ancestry work, all manner of different things that I do from A to Z, really. And so I work with all people, many different clients, doesn't matter, deaf, hearing, different groups, doesn't matter. And so I really love doing this kind of work. And so I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy to be working with you all tonight. And so you can contact me by email. My email is heartofoak8@gmail.com. And so I have an internet page. You can contact me through that as well. So that's www.spiritoracle.com. And you can find me on Instagram. And so I'm at Heart of Oak 8. And so I'm not on Facebook. I don't really do that much with that. And so you can go ahead and contact me, and we can go through an interpreter. And so I really hope to, be able to see you. I had a great time tonight, and thanks for the interpreters. And so the deaf people who come will be able to watch these videos in the future and participate. And so there you go.
Thank you so much, Thorne. It's so great to have you here. And thank you, Sharon and Grace, for interpreting. And I put information in the chat for everyone that's here too. If you're willing to make a donation towards the interpreters, that would be great. It's we aim to pay them a certain minimum amount for being here. And so we want to be able to earn enough that we can sustain ourselves to keep doing these events and continue to have the interpreters. So anything that you contribute, thank you so much. Any practitioners, anyone else have to leave, give you an opportunity to share your info. Oh, Karen, go ahead?
Sorry, thank you. I'm on the East Coast. It's getting late, and I have a little one. So, so I am an intuitive quantum healer. All of my sessions are very much individualized for the client and how they're presenting at the time of our session. So sessions with me will change week to week, month to month. And we really go through, we could look at past lives, we could look at what you're holding in your physical body right now, cords, contracts, kind of the sky is the limit, to be honest with you. I see it's up on the chat. So again, my email address is Karen@KarenCoccia.com, I'm tired, I'm sorry, KarenCoccia.com. And then my URL is also just KarenCoccia.com. And you can find me on Facebook under Soul Aligned with Karen Coccia. Thank you all so much for having me this evening. This has been so much fun. And I would love and hope to see you all again soon. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks so much, Karen. All right. Other practitioners, are you all staying here for a few minutes while we answer the next question? Great. Okay, and Pauline, I know you asked a question earlier, so is there anything you wanted to say upon closing, or you had your hand up? Okay, Pauline, I will assume not. All right, so Jocelyn, thank you so much for waiting. Your question is next. Turn on your video and you come to the front and I'll be able to put you up here. Jocelyn. Let's see, I'm going to ask you to unmute and to turn on your video. Okay, great. Here we go. All right, Jocelyn, we can't see you. There might be something in front of your camera. But yeah, go ahead and speak. We'll get your question. We can't hear you. You're still muted. If you're on I don't know what device you're on. Okay, you're on. Okay, Jocelyn, we can figure this out. If needed, you can leave and come back in, but I think we can. Your device is just still muted. Oh, Jocelyn. Oh, she's coming back in. Okay, they're coming in with another device. So turn on the video on your new device. And it should... Aha, okay.
Hi, I had to go into my settings. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, it's great, it's great.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for staying. I'll make this really quick. just quick question. It's about my grandfather. He just died last week, and it was beautiful. I completely accept that. However, I'm going to be speaking at his funeral on Tuesday, and I guess I'm just looking for any guidance or advice or connection from him or my higher self or anything at all. I guess on what best to say to support what's important to him, what his friends and family need to hear. I don't know. I just feel a lot of pressure to just honor him correctly in that way.
Yeah, thanks for your patience while everyone's checking in.
Okay.
Go ahead, Susie.
As soon as you said that you were nervous about it, I got this very deep, chest-full laugh. Like, oh, you don't need to be worried about it. If we are, he's saying if you're worried about what people want to hear, he says you're looking at it from the wrong way. He asks you to speak from your heart.
Okay.
He loved everybody, and he's one of those who transitioned easily.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, this is really great around here. You ought to see it. Oh, wait, no, you don't have to see it right now.
Not yet.
No, he's very lovely. It's gentle and kind. And he says, the fact that people is sad, he feels honored by that, because that meant he had an impact on people. And he'll do the things like stand next to you and his hand will be on your heart, on your back. And he says, don't worry, my darling. No. He's like, don't worry about it. Speak from your heart. And he's actually kind of embarrassed, saying, this is my ego talking to you, and I shouldn't have one right now because, I'm dead and all that. But he says, just speak from your heart about what he meant to you. And those words of love will be conveyed to the others, and those feelings of love will be conveyed. And that will allow him to move. He'll move among the crowd and let them know. He'll give, it feels like a kiss on the forehead to those who need it, and they will be able to say goodbye. But he says, speak from your heart. He's not going to write you out a script, because that would be his ego playing in, and he doesn't want that. So just speak from your heart and let him know that, let everyone know how much he loved them. Because he could talk to you, but that would be weird, he says. He's like, I could tell you what to say, but that would be weird. He doesn't want that.
Yeah. Thank you, dear.
But he trusts you. He trusts you. Hand is on, you can't see, but his hand is like on your heart. And he says, I'll stand behind you with my hand on your heart in the back. So just breathe and speak of love.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Switch interpreter.
Yeah, Marian, let Marian go. Go ahead.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi, Marian.
Right away when you started speaking, I just got this really warm feeling in my heart. And then I had this energy in my head, like your spirit guides are going to be with you. You're not going to say one word wrong.
Okay.
They're going to, the words are going to be in your mouth, and you're not going to really know where they're coming from, except that they're coming from your heart.
Okay.
So you'll do just fine.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Let's see. I just questions about contact info, so I gotta go check that. But I come back to your energy. Yeah, your energy just feels so beautiful to me. Like it's the same as what they're saying. Like, of course you're gonna say things that are good. It's really for you to trust yourself. Just let yourself continue to speak through your heart and speak what's here. You've got a great sense of intuition, and to speak from the love that you know that not only that you experienced with him, but that everyone would have experienced with him. You so will know what to say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I said just in the field of love from your heart is just so big. So I don't know if you know that of just everyone around you and how they feel that in your life.
Oh, thank you.
That's with you all the time.
Yeah, I've got good people around me.
Well, but part of why you have good people around you is because of the field of love that you are.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, sure. Sure. Thank you for answering, for your insights. That's really helpful.
You're so welcome. All right. Let's see. So there are 4 of us left. Let's go ahead and share who we are here as we're closing. And I put everyone's contact info in the chat again. I'm going to check and see where there might be a mistake. And I've also put information in the chat about entering a drawing. If you're still here, there are a whole bunch of you still here. If you'd like to enter into a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice, there's a form to fill out. There's just a link there in the chat. I've got upcoming events in there too. Tomorrow night, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, we have a fair with 15 practitioners. It's free to be there to listen and learn. We do a free intuitive panel during the first hour, and then practitioners give, I think we have 26 talks scheduled throughout the next 3 hours. It's a great opportunity to learn from different practitioners. You can do sessions with some of them at the fair. We all offer specials where you can do special sessions with us outside of the fair as well. Similar to the kinds of specials that we have tonight, there's another opportunity to win a free 30-minute session. And it's just great energy being in this space with all of us. So it's from 5 to 9 p.m. and that's tomorrow night. And then we've also got coming up a panel on animal communication and healing on Tuesday, a panel on flora, fae, and plant medicines on Saturday, May 29, a panel on mediumship on Wednesday, June 9, a panel on making possibilities into reality Friday, June 11. And we have so much more. If you go to the page where you got into the event tonight, jointhefair.com or joinmewionline.com and scroll down, you'll see all the upcoming events. All right, so practitioners, go ahead and share your name, your modality, and how people can connect with you online. Whoever wants to go first. Susy, Marian, or Prakash, whoever wants to jump in.
I'll jump in. My name's Marian. I am available at Chariat, CHARIATS, free to be ministry @gmail.com. And I do all kinds of energy healing. I do intuitive readings, spiritual response therapy, which is a way to clear interpersonal relationship issues. And I do empowerment to soul retrieval. If there's a part of you missing that's making something not quite work right for you, and that's where spirit leads us, I can help with that. So thanks for being with us tonight, and hope you have a good evening, and hope to see you at tomorrow's fair.
Thank you so much, Marian. Great jumping in this first regular panel. You did great. Prakash, do you want to go next? Just your name and your name, your modalities, and how people can reach out to you if they want to connect and do a session.
Prakash Keegel, and I do hypnotherapy. Work in various ways, like with doing a communication with somebody from whom you're estranged, and even somebody who's dead. Have a conversation with them where you can finish something that hasn't been finished off. And I find that many times when people do this conversation, then they hear from that person, if the person's still alive, and and they say, "Oh, I've been thinking about you." And even though that person has not made any attempt to contact them for years, somehow this process will facilitate that. And it's nkeegel@gmail.com.
Great. And you do past life regression also, right?
That's right.
What is that? Could you just say a little of what that is, what that looks like?
Well, I put a person in a light trance and then take them on a journey, in a boat, traveling down a river and seeing the seasons change as the years go past. And then when they're ready, they go to the bank of the river and get off. And I asked them to look at their feet, what they're wearing there, and then what else they're wearing, which will give clues about what age they're in. And then we talk about dramatic incidents in their life. And sometimes the moments before they died, what happened then. And when they come out of the trance, I talk with them about what they learned from this experience. For example, I experienced a past life as an African shaman, and I was in a village which was attacked, and I lost confidence in my ability as a shaman and picked up a weapon and went into battle and was killed. And then my whole tribe lost heart and they were massacred. And the lesson that came out of that was that I need to believe in my abilities as a healer. And that was a big lesson for me.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Prakash, for sharing. And I'm just going to say your email address again. I know you just said it, but let's see, where is it? It's nkeegel@gmail.com. All right, thanks, Prakash. All right, Susy. And it looks like they're switching.
Okay.
Right.
Whenever you're ready. Okay, thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much to the interpreters and to Thorne and Laureli for organizing this. My name is Susy Parker Goins. I'm with Blue Lightning Healing. I'm a channel, an energy healer, a guide. Looking at past lives is great fun, and talking to those who have crossed over is quite enlightening, I must say. I have a podcast called Blue Lightning Healing Meditations. It's on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google, Apple, and a few other things. You can go to anchor.fm and listen to it there. That works beautifully too. My website is www.bluelightninghealing.com, and you can reach me at Susy, that's SUSY, at bluelightninghealing.com. This has been a lovely event. Thank you so much. And I love knowing and meeting, seeing vendors again and meeting very new ones. So thank you. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. I'm giving 2 talks there, right? I'm giving one about meeting your spirit guides and actually accessing past lives. So join us there and get some, I don't know. I don't have any kind of groovy thing like Galactic Ashley says. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.
Great. And I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, matchmaker. I answer questions about you, your purpose, your path, and other people that you show me photos of. I can sense into your parents to some extent and past relationships, and feel into the emotional dynamic of relationships that you're in now. In my body psychology coaching, I help you help you better understand your own experience, feel your own experience, know what it means, and take action. You can find out more about me and all that I do at LaureliShimayo.com. That's LaureliShimayo.com. I have a 40% off special today. If you sign up the next few days, you get that special. You can also sign up for just a complimentary session to chat first. You can schedule time with me at scheduleloreli.com. And if you do the complimentary and then you quickly sign up for a real session, you get the discount then too. And you can find out about many more events that we have here at MeWe Fairs by going to mewefairs.com. There will soon be events in other cities in person on that website as well. Right now, we've just had online events, and you can see the list of all the online events at jointhefair.com or joinmeweonline.com. You can get into Zoom from that page, and you can also see all the upcoming online events. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. We had, I think, we didn't quite get over, did we get over 70? We had somewhere around 70 people with us here tonight, and we stayed up into the 30s until just a few minutes ago. Thank you, everyone. It's been great having you all with us. It's just so important what we do. This is doing it all together. And thank you, all the practitioners, new practitioners leaping in, and all the people that ask questions, and everyone holding the space together. Thank you very, very much. And I see appreciation in the chat. Please go ahead and fill out the feedback form. We'd love to hear from you, what worked, how we can make it better, and we'd love to put you in the drawing for the free 30-minute session.